Oh, what a nightmare.
Water sensor triggered.
What's going to happen is you're going to get a lot more stability out of your leveling system as well.
That's
Don't tell everybody.
Shh, it's a secret. It's kind of one of the biggest controversies in the RV industry. So that's like a DIY in a pinch?
A DIY in a pinch if you need to.
You would say that's an RV myth.
Don't believe everything you hear on the internet.
They said buy an RV, it'd be fun.
Not for the RV techs, huh?
And I still bought one.
Complete waste of money.
Josh, the RV tech, is back with secret hacks, DIY repair tips, and things to never do to your RV. Many of these I've never even heard of. How many have you heard of? Plus, share your own do's and don'ts with RVs down in the comments below so everyone can learn. Let's get into it. I'm Tom.
And I'm Cheri.
And we're EnjoyTheJourney.Life.
So Josh, are you a propane on or off while traveling?
I don't think it makes a difference.
Oh yeah?
I don't think it makes a difference.
Okay.
They wouldn't make an absorption refrigerator so you could travel down the road with your propane off, would they?
You wouldn't think so. It's kind of one of the biggest controversies in the RV industry. You would say that's an RV myth.
Don't believe everything you hear on the internet. If your RV manufacturer says to turn it off while traveling, well then I guess turn it off. But if they don't say to turn it off while traveling, I'd say you're good to go.
Right, and now I don't need to have it on since I've got the 12-volt fridge now, so
right.
But I guess there's a few people out there with the absorption fridges, and
at the same time though, if you are traveling down the road in a very cold environment and you don't winterize your coach, you're going to be running your furnace going down the freeway, getting to your next destination, especially if it's 10 degrees outside. You're darn right you're going to be want to run your furnace. You're going to want to keep that propane on.
So you have a Momentum.
Yeah.
So on an unlevel site like this, you think it's okay to have one side up the tires off the ground, or no?
I don't recommend ever picking the tires up off the ground, and it
Okay.
appears that you have the more ride suspension on here. Is that what I see?
Yes.
Yeah, so even more of a reason not to pick up those tires up off the ground, because they even emphasize that in your owner's manual, on where to pick them up, and where you pick them up at is not extending those rubber bushings in there, because there's 2 rubber bushings in there that keep that wheel in line. And if we tear that, it's going to get rid of a lot of that shock absorbency. So especially with the Moride IS, that with even conventional leaf springs, what'll happen is if you pick up one side, you can actually, what will happen is you'll have a flip. So you'll actually flip the shackle upside down, and it'll cause more pressure on one axle than less pressure on the other, and actually put the system in a bind. So
I've heard of that.
My suggestion to everybody, when all of my RV customers, is level the coach the best you can, prior to even setting down your jacks. Hey, you might have to be a little more this way, a little more that way, or even a little further back so you can get a little bit level. However, try to level your coach the best you can prior to disconnecting. Because the more level you can get your coach in the beginning, the better your leveling system's going to have to take advantage of its full potential, not extend your jacks, so on and so forth. If you look here, you got your jack 2 like really extended. We want to make sure we block those up. I try to tell people to limit to about half the stroke of your jack if you can. If we stay at about that half stroke, if you got a 15 inches of stroke in your jack, stay at about that 7.5 inches. If you can stay there, what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot more stability out of your leveling system as well.
Yeah, actually, is that rear jack off the ground?
It's completely off the ground. It's fully extended.
Right, so the bucket, so we need several things. We need more height with the wood here, and we need another couple buckets over here.
Now, did you install the MORride after you purchased the coach?
Yes.
Okay, so a thing to possibly think about too is maybe having your jacks readjusted. You can bring down your jacks a hole or two, and what that'll do is that will give you some add more distance, you know, on those jacks. So if you look here on your rear jack, you could actually bring that down one more notch to the top, and then you would sit down a little bit lower. Now you
interesting.
Now you also got to keep in mind, you know, that if we do this, what's going to happen is your jack pad's now going to be lower.
More susceptible to damage on the road or whatever.
Exactly. So I mean, those are things to consider when doing modifications like that.
Right. Several of you asked how much it costs to replace that Lippert leveling jack. Actually a lot, over $1,000, but we didn't have to pay that out of pocket. We actually have wholesale warranties that cover the jack and the replacement of the water pump. And we do recommend wholesale warranties as one of the first things you should get as an upgrade or add-on for your RV. We've had extended warranties on both of the RVs we've owned, and they have always more than paid for the cost of that warranty with all of the repairs they cover, because as you've noticed, RVs tend to break down. Now you can get a free quote on wholesale warranties if you want with the link we have down below and this QR code.
So any RV gadgets that would be a waste of money, you would say stay away from? Don't try this thing?
The Rhino Blast Pro without the gate valve, complete waste of money. Complete waste of money. They should have never manufactured the one without the gate valve. Should always have the gate valve. For back flushing, it goes on your termination valve. Your water hose hooks up to it. You open your black or your gray tank. You flush water through there. There's a valve that closes. However, the one that doesn't have the gate valve, it's kind of pointless. The water goes up, comes right back down, and goes right into the sewer.
Oh, you can't stop it, huh?
You can't stop the water flow to build up, to go into the sewer system, to go into the tanks.
Okay, we use the Flush King from Volterra.
Perfect, as long as it has the gate valve.
Right.
So they make two versions of it. The one without, which is kind of like a 45, got a gate valve on it, the blade valve, and they also make the straight one without the gate valve. And get the one with the gate valve.
Okay.
You're wasting your money otherwise. Or, you know, if they don't have it, you can always take it and put your twist-on Volterra valve on the end of it and make it work as well.
Okay.
But yeah, it's one of definitely waste of money.
That Rhino version, huh? That without the gate valve.
I'd say any of the flushers just without that gate valve. You know, you always want to make sure it has that gate on the end. You know,
okay.
so you can build that water pressure. That water volume, I should say. We're not building pressure, we're building volume.
So Josh, what is the biggest mistake RVers make with their RVs?
Like from my customer's standpoint, you know,
would
be people walking away when they're flushing their black tanks.
Yes.
or the pesky neighbor coming over and talking to him. You know, that neighbor's cool and he cooks a good steak. However, it's not so cool when your rig gets flooded with poop water.
Right. You're doing anything with the black tank. Don't get distracted or have a conversation.
Right.
So what you're saying is people getting distracted when they're flushing their black tank, that's caused the most amount of problems you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, and it causes the most amount of damage too. Like, you don't I mean, people don't understand, like, it's not just what you see on the surface that's damaged. I mean, it gets to the point where it gets in your underbelly, between the laminate and the floor, and it can definitely create some some really big problems.
Yeah, you basically think of sewage spread around the under part of your RV, and everywhere it touches would have to be sanitized.
Exactly. You know, most of the time you gotta drop the underbelly and, you know, replace insulation if your manufacturer utilizes insulation.
So what would be the next common thing that you see RVers doing to mess up their RVs?
Lack of maintenance.
What would be that number one maintenance thing?
I would say number one maintenance thing that destroys an RV would either be tires or the roof. You know, not a lot of people do roof inspections, want to get up there and inspect their roof, you know, but definitely one of the most important things, you should be up on top of that roof at least every 30 to 45 days inspecting it. Die-core is so easy to replace, and it goes bad at a moment's notice. It really does. Something to think about. Another thing I see a lot of people do, the leaking freshwater inlet.
Leaking at what point?
The freshwater inlet, where your fresh water comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest common mistake that people do is tighten it down.
Oh, that plastic piece in there, right?
No, so where your garden hose goes into your RV, and you have the water inlet. Teflon tape, sometimes it helps. You know, it's not really going to help because that's not the sealing surface. We need to replace that O-ring. You can usually get a 3-pack on Amazon. I'm sure he'll post a link for you guys in the description. 3-pack Camco gaskets, and they have a filter in them. You can pick them up for about $6. Replace one of those. Just tighten it till it's snug. Don't use pliers on it. You know, as soon as we start using pliers, it cuts into that gasket, and that's when we start to leak.
Okay.
So that's the biggest mistake that I see people do. I'd say another common mistake I see people not do would be starting their generators once a month.
Right.
Start your generators every 30 days. If you don't, you're gonna have problems. You know, if you're parked, use good stabilizer in your fuel, you know, to keep it fresh. Try to keep as minimal fuel in your RV as possible, you know, especially if you're going to be staying parked for an extended period of time, you know, and you can always top it off with 5 gallons of gas every 2 months after you run your generator for an hour or two, or start the coach and run it for an hour or two. You know, it's definitely going to play on the longevity of these vehicles. You know, they're not meant to sit stationary, you know, just like our cars. You know, when we let them sit parked for an extended period of time, we have issues with them as well.
Definitely. Yeah, the generator is something I've been remiss on a few times, and letting go probably 2 or 3 months, been like, oh, I need to start that thing.
Yeah, you know, I'm guilty of it too. So I mean, it's like I can't say you know, one of us aren't guilty more than the other, because we're all guilty of it.
One screw, all done, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's all you get.
See how far we get down the road, huh?
That will be $29.95.
Yeah, actually, I think this started from a tire blowout.
Did it?
So, speaking of tires, yeah, just like those tire blowouts cause so much damage.
Yeah, there's quite a bit in there.
That's, you know, another reason why they need to put better parts in here, right? It's not just you might have a leak, but it's like the
subsequent damage that's involved.
Right. You put a cheesy part that's going to leak, and here we are replacing fiberglass and opening the underbelly. It's got to dry out, and it's like, pff, what a nightmare. Oh, is that tank supposed to look like that?
I mean, they're okay. I mean, they're not the greatest, but they get a little bit of a bulge to them. At this time is the temperature fluctuation that we're having
in the northern Arizona, where we have a temperature fluctuation of upwards of 50 and 60 degrees between nighttime and daytime temperature. With this pipe and these plastic fittings, I have noticed that some of these plastic fittings get distorted after said time, you know, and the expansion and contraction rate is definitely different between the two materials.
I was told the last time after I had a leak back in there that we have a Simply Safe alarm, and it said just whatever alarm system you're using, throw a water detector, water sensor in there.
Absolutely. I use a ring-based alarm in my RV, and they have the water detectors, and it'll let you know right away. As for like your water pump, what I've actually done was use get like those aluminum baking pans, put a little bit of silicone underneath the mounting points, and then just mount the water pump back down. So if the water pump does ever leak or whatever, and you have now a catch basin.
Oh, sure.
To apply that. And the reason I say those aluminum pans, the recyclable ones, is because you can mold that, you know. You can get around some things if you have to. You can bend it and move it and maneuver it in there, you know. But you put that pan in there. I have one in my RV, and occasionally I'll see a little bit of calcium on the bottom of it, and it's like, oh hey, it's a good indication there might have been a leak there, you know.
Right.
And I would rather have it dip in that pan and fill up the pan, and then, you know, catch most of that water before it gets in your bay, you know. And most of those water sensors that you can put in there, they're going to stand up off of that, so that aluminum pan's not going to affect it until that water actually physically touches those contacts on that sensor. Yep. And water pressure regulators, highly recommend them. If you don't have one,
I got one for sure.
Yeah, get you one. Whether it's adjustable, I'm gonna crawl out here, whether it's adjustable or fixed.
And is it 60 psi max? Is that what you recommend, or?
So 60 psi max is what I recommend. Most of the water systems, I test them. I'll fill them up to 100 psi, 120 psi. I try to double whatever value.
So you'll put it under that pressure to test it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way I'm gonna make sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
That
See,
I can verify that my work and your components are good, you know.
Yeah.
They're all rated for it. They're all going to be rated for that 120 psi. Now, operating pressure and working pressure are going to be a little bit different. Working pressure is where we get up to that high limits, you know.
Right.
PEX piping is good for anywhere from I think it's 150 or 190 psi at set temperature, and it's listed on the side of the pipe. It'll tell you. The vinyl crosslink tubing, I believe that's completely different. It definitely gets very hard when we get into some of these colder temperatures. It can't expand and contract around those fittings.
Interesting, but I think that's great. Yeah, to be able to test them, because I've never seen or heard of anybody putting it under double the recommended pressure.
Yeah, and
test it.
You can look that up. It's called an ASTM. I don't know the specification number, but if you look on the side of your PEX piping, whether it's PEX A or PEX B, it'll say an ASTM number, and then if you just type in ASTM PEX testing pressure, it'll say double the operating pressure. You know, so whatever we typically operate, so if you're operating at 55 psi, you're going to test at least double that pressure to verify that there's no leaks in that system. That's the proper way to do it, and that's what we do, you know, like when we do home remodels, commercial jobs. That's, you know, I'm going to apply that aspect and technology into your RV and you know, try to better these things a little bit. You know, now we're not actuating valves, we're not you know, going and pressing a toilet pedal. It will blow those valves apart. It's going to blow the seals out of them. We don't want to do that. Okay, we don't.
You don't say go take a shower.
No, we don't want to turn knobs in the wet bay at those pressures. We're just testing to verify that there is no leaks. Now, when you do test at those pressures, you also need to keep in mind that temperature is a big problem when you test, because you might pump your system up to 110 psi and you get 10 degrees in temperature fluctuation between that morning and that afternoon from when you go back to check it. And yeah, it might be a little bit higher, or you go in the afternoon to go check it and now you say, oh hey, I've dropped 3 psi, I must have a leak. That's not a verifiable leak. 3 psi over 6 to 8 hours, I wouldn't classify that a verifiable leak. And when you look at that ASTM number, there is a spec there on time frame on PSI with temperature drop. Other than that, you know, a couple water leaks, they're very common in these RVs. Very common.
So this is you'd see this like all the time. Like this is like,
yeah, with this vinyl tubing, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very common, especially when we get into the colder climates with the temperature fluctuation.
Okay.
It's, you know, I wouldn't call it a pipe failure, I'd call it a temperature issue. You know, I'm sure if we got back in there, a hair dryer, a hot heat gun, we can get to seal up most of those. However, that's not going to be a justifiable fix, you know.
Really? So that's like a DIY in a pinch?
A DIY in a pinch. If you need to, grab a heat gun, hair dryer, and, you know, just apply very little heat at an even rate. You don't want to sit there and hold on to it, because it's gonna heat up one spot faster than the other. It can cause leaks, can cause the pipe to blow out on one side. You know, you want to do this at a very, you know, at a mild rate. I would recommend too, if you do that, get rid of the water pressure, because you don't want to blow the fitting off. What we want to do is we want to heat it up, get it to contract around that fitting, and then let it cool down a little bit, and then apply the water pressure back to it. So
cool.
Kind of, you know.
Yeah, that's
great. Don't tell everybody.
Shh, it's a secret.
Yeah. It's in a pinch. It's not a permanent solution. It's not a permanent solution. I have used it to get us out of a pinch, or to get us through the night, so that way you guys can maintain, you know, water through the evening for a customer. You know, other than that,
it's better than duct tape, right?
Do not go and make money on your customer doing that type of fix. That is a no-no.
Right. Okay. Is there a level that you're supposed to have that at when they're fully deployed, or?
Usually I don't like to go past here, you know, lower than this.
Okay.
You know, just give it some of them in the pickup. You'll have to kick up your rear jacks because you've introduced some air into the system at this point.
Because that would be a potential mistake, would be to like fill it up a lot right now, right?
Yeah, so because all the jacks are extended, all the fluid's out of the system. So the only time you really want to add fluid is when all the jacks are up and you're hooked up to the truck. It's the only time you ever want to add fluid. You want to be about right here.
When all the jacks are back in,
yep,
you'll be about high.
You'll be about 1 inch from the bottom of your fill.
Otherwise, we have hydraulic fluid all over our batteries.
Yeah,
which wouldn't be good.
Do
So do you have favorite RV gadget that every RVer should have?
I wouldn't say a favorite, but what I have been using lately, I've been selling quite a few during this winter months, is Lipper makes a device that you can actually hook up, and you press the button. I'll get you the name for it here in just a minute. But you push the button, and it adds air pressure to your water supply, so that way you can go around and hit your faucets and go ahead and blow out all the faucets and all the water lines, so that way you can turn your heat down or walk away from your coach for a few days in the winter months without having to worry about, you know, freezing the pipes up.
Okay, you know, I think I saw something about that.
But yeah, they work really well. Everybody I've installed them on so far up here in Camp Verde and in Cottonwood, they've really liked them, and they've said that they've actually been able to save some money on their gas bill, because most of these people that I put them on, they they go back to the Phoenix area and go home during the weekend. So they're rolling up here during the week, and they don't like to run the heat. And I don't blame them. It can get expensive.
At the end of the day, there's really no repair manuals for these things. It's all general maintenance. It's all generalized repair. When you know, if you were to look up repair, you know, I mean, that's why people post so many videos about how to do certain things on your guys' units, and you know, become YouTube certified, baby.
Right. That's what we're here for. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Tom.
Josh, thank you so much. We really appreciate
Absolutely,
it. RV tank specialist.
Yes,
You're
sir.
servicing northern Arizona and southern Nevada?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so you don't just do RV repair work, you're actually cleaning and flushing tanks
Yep,
as well.
we do cleaning, flushing tanks. We do full service RV repair.
Great. Well, we're not going to keep Josh. He's running to another job. So thanks, man. Appreciate
Absolutely,
it.
Tom. It was wonderful
And,
working with you, and we'll talk soon, all right?
All
We'll
right.
get together and
All
make
right.
another video.
Take care, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All
Have a
right.
great day.
We'll
Bye-bye.
see ya.
If it pays the bills, my friend, that's why you got to watch these videos all the way through.
All
This
right.
guy's gas and groceries cost the same. He needs to eat too. So make sure you click that like button.
That's right. Don't skip any ads.